My name is Ensley Drew Barnes. On the night I turned 18, I blew out the candles on a cheap grocery store cake while my stepmother slammed a stack of papers onto the dining table of our house in Wichita, Kansas. "Sign this right now or get out forever," she barked. Her name was Karen Brooks, and she kept jabbing her finger at an old copy of the trust paperwork. $1.4 million was never meant for a worthless girl like you. That money belongs to this family. My father, Robert Carter, just stared at the floor as if silence could save him. My stepbrother Connor leaned back in his chair with a smirk like Christmas had arrived a month early. I refused to sign. 10 minutes later, I was standing on the sidewalk with a single backpack, the wind cutting through my hoodie as the front door clicked shut behind me. Kansas winter felt like a blade against my skin. I walked the same route I had followed every night for months. The same dim corner. The same elderly woman wrapped in a thin coat sitting silently on flattened cardboard with a small tin cup in front of her. As always, I dug out my last $5 bill and slipped it into her cup. But this time was different. Her dry, trembling fingers suddenly closed around my wrist with unexpected strength. She pulled me closer, her eyes wide with something that looked a lot like fear. "Child, listen to me very carefully," she whispered. "Tonight you do not sleep on the street, not in the park, not anywhere they would expect you to be. Find the cheapest motel you can pay in cash, lock the door, and stay out of sight. Come back to this corner tomorrow morning. I have something that will save your life." She pulled me down toward her and whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "Listen carefully, child. Tonight you do not sleep on the street, not in the park, not anywhere they would expect you to be. Find a cheap motel, pay in cash, lock the door, then come back here tomorrow morning. I have something that will save your life. Welcome to my story. If you have ever been betrayed by the people who were supposed to love you most, stay with me until the end. And if you are watching this from somewhere cold tonight, drop your city in the comments and subscribe for more real family drama and revenge stories every single day." I stood shaking on the dark sidewalk in Wichita, Kansas, digging through my backpack for the last few crumpled bills I had left. $127, that was all. Money I had earned washing dishes at the diner all summer. The wind sliced straight through my hoodie, pushing the temperature down to 7 degrees below zero. I walked east along Kellogg Avenue until a flickering pink neon sign caught my eye. "Starlight Motel vacancy." The clerk barely glanced up from his phone as I slid $38 across the counter. "Cash only. No ID. No questions." Room 12 smelled like stale cigarettes and bleach, but the deadbolt worked and the window locked. I kept my boots on, curled up under the thin blanket with my coat still on, and cried until my body simply had no tears left to give. The next morning I went straight back to the corner. The elderly woman was already there, sitting on her usual flattened piece of cardboard tin cup resting in front of her coat pulled tight around her thin frame. I crouched down beside her. "You knew something was coming that night, didn't you?" She studied me quietly before speaking. "Call me Mrs. Evelyn Rose Harland," she said. "And yes, I have been watching over you. The people in that house want you gone. Badly. So, I told her everything. The trust. The way my stepmother Karen Brooks kept waving the old copy around, screaming that if I did not claim the money it would automatically revert to my father. How she insisted it belonged to the family. Mrs. Evelyn listened without a single interruption, then nodded slowly, as if she had heard this exact story 100 times before. That afternoon, I walked into a 24-hour quick stop near the park and begged the manager for any shift he had open. He hired me on the spot for the overnight cashier position, $10 an hour, cash in hand, no paperwork. Real money would not come in for another 2 weeks, but I needed something right then. Soon the nights turned into a rhythm. Clock in at 11, mop the floors, restock the shelves, ring up truckers and college kids until 7 in the morning. I lived on 99-cent instant noodles and day-old donuts from the clearance rack. Every shift, no matter how tired I was, I set aside $5, sometimes 10. When the sun started rising, I walked to the corner and slipped the bills into Mrs. Evelyn's cup. She never asked where the money came from. She simply pressed my cold fingers between her dry hands and whispered, "Thank you." Some nights a sharp chemical smell drifted over from the park like a whole tank of gasoline had been dumped somewhere nearby. I kept telling myself it was just the gas station across the street. I was too exhausted to think any harder. Then one morning, after pulling a double shift because someone called out sick, I cut through the park like I always did. Yellow tape blocked every entrance. The fire trucks were gone, but the stench of gasoline and burned plastic hung thick in the air. Every bench I used to sleep on when my motel money ran low was blackened and twisted. The exact corner where I hid my backpack under a tarp was nothing but ash and the melted remains of a sleeping bag someone else had abandoned. A couple of investigators were kneeling near a scorched plastic bottle with a rag jammed into its neck, taking samples. One of them told his partner they had found 2 clear pore patterns and a shoe print in the damp grass. I stood there, staring at the destruction, my stomach dropping so fast I thought I might collapse right there on the sidewalk. Those benches had been my backup plan. Someone wanted to make sure I had nowhere left to go. I slowed the moment those red and blue lights flickered across the charred park benches. The entire north end of the park was sealed off with yellow tape snapping in the wind. 2 fire investigators in navy jackets knelt in the dirt, scraping soot into evidence jars, while another officer photographed the half-melted bottle with the rag sticking out of it. The air tasted like gasoline and melted plastic. A familiar silver Honda screeched to the curb. Lauren Marie Evans jumped out her diner apron, fluttering eyes wide with panic. "Emily, I have been driving these streets every single morning looking for you." She reached for me. I stepped back. "I am handling it," I told her. "Handling it." She pointed at the burned benches and twisted metal. "This is what you call handling it. Get in the car. You are coming home with me." I shook my head. "I cannot drag you into whatever this is." She opened her mouth to argue, but I was already walking away. That evening, after wiping counters and restocking energy drinks until my hands smelled like citrus cleaner, I went straight to the corner. Mrs. Evelyn was already there, coat pulled tight against the cold. I crouched down beside her. "You knew something was coming the night I got kicked out." She patted the cardboard next to her. "Sit." I sat. Her voice dropped to a whisper. 3 weeks ago, I noticed the same kid circling this block almost every night. Expensive sneakers. Nice jacket. Never put a penny in my cup. Just watched you count your money. Watched where you walked. I have seen that look before. It is the look of someone planning distance. Then she reached inside her layers and pressed a tiny black USB drive into my palm along with a folded scrap of paper. 2 words were written in shaky block letters. "Watch alone." "I bought a cheap solar camera from the pawn shop," she murmured. "Mounted it high on the lamppost across the street. It has been recording since the night I first saw him. Whatever is on that drive, you watch it alone. Then you decide what needs to be done." I closed my fist around it. Why risk this for me? Because 20 years ago, my own son decided I was worth more dead than alive. Nobody stood up for me then. I am too old to fight now, but I am not too old to hand you the weapon. Back in room 12, I locked the door, dragged the dresser in front of it, and plugged the drive into my cracked laptop. One file. I clicked play. Night vision footage time-stamped 4 nights earlier. 2 figures stepped into frame carrying red plastic gasoline cans. The taller one set his can down, pulled out a phone, and tilted the screen toward the streetlight. Connor Brooks, my stepbrother, grinning like all of it was a joke. He turned to his friend. "We finish this before Friday. She signs at the bank next week and the money is locked to her forever. After that, no second chances." His friend laughed, twisted open the cap, and began splashing liquid across every bench I used to sleep on. Connor joined in, making sure the exact corner where I hid my backpack was completely drenched. He looked into his phone camera and said, "One less problem." Then he struck a match. I watched the footage 3 times, my heart pounding so loud I was sure the neighbors could hear it. Every second of that video was evidence. Every word felt like a death sentence. I sat frozen on the edge of the motel bed, my hands shaking so violently that the empty plastic cup slipped from my fingers and cracked against the tile floor. The video clip kept playing on my battered laptop screen. I dragged the progress bar back to the exact moment Connor tilted his phone toward the streetlight. A text thread glowed across his face. At the top, the sender name was unmistakable. Karen Brooks, my stepmother. The final message, sent 19 minutes before they lit the match, was impossible to misread. The trust clause is clear. If she does not claim it before the signing date, every dollar rolls straight to your father. Do it fast and clean. No mistakes this time. I stared until the words blurred. They were not trying to scare me. They truly believed that if I vanished before signing at the bank, the money would automatically revert to my dad. They were wrong, but they were still willing to kill me over that mistake. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. I fumbled for my phone and dialed the only number I trusted. Lauren answered on the first ring. "Where are you?" "Room 12. Get here now. Do not stop for anything." She arrived in under 15 minutes, still wearing her diner apron from earlier. I locked the door behind her, dragged the dresser in front of it again, and hit play without saying a word. We watched the entire recording in absolute silence. When Connor's laugh echoed through the tiny room, Lauren covered her mouth with both hands. When Karen's text message filled the screen, she gripped the edge of the bed as if she might fall off. "That is your stepbrother," she whispered, "and that is my stepmother giving him orders." She stared at the frozen frame, then looked straight at me. "They think killing you hands the money to your dad on a silver platter. That is what the old trust copy says, the one they stole from my grandfather's safe. They never saw the updated version." Lauren's expression hardened. "We are taking this to the police tomorrow morning. No discussion." I barely slept that night. Every creak outside the door sounded like footsteps coming for me. Just before dawn, I slipped out and walked to the corner. Mrs. Evelyn was already there, wrapped in the same faded coat. I crouched beside her. "You saved my life." She shook her head slowly. "Not yet." But I recognized the look on that boy's face weeks ago. It was the same look my own son had the night he decided I was worth more dead than alive. I was not letting history repeat itself on my watch. "How did you know to set up the camera?" "I had a feeling the night you first told me about that trust," she said. "Greed makes people stupid, but it also makes them predictable. I have been sleeping with one eye open for 20 years. I figured it was time that experience helped someone else." She pressed my hand once, warm and steady. "Do what you have to do now. I will still be right here." When I stepped back into the motel room, Lauren grabbed my arm. "We are leaving in 5 minutes. I already called in sick to the diner. This ends today." She reversed out of the parking lot before the sun had even cleared the rooftops and headed straight for the Wichita Police Department on South Market Street. We walked through the glass doors while the lobby was still half empty. The desk sergeant took one look at my face and buzzed us through without asking a single question. Detective Anthony Morales met us in a small interview room with gray walls and a table bolted to the floor. He looked to be in his early 40s, salt and pepper hair, calm eyes that missed nothing. I set the black USB drive on the table. "This is video of my stepbrother pouring gasoline in the park where I have been sleeping. My stepmother told him to do it." Detective Morales inserted the drive into his laptop without saying a word and pressed play. The room stayed silent, except for Connor's voice coming through the speakers bragging about deadlines and money. When Karen's text message lit up the screen, Morales paused the video, leaned forward and read it twice. Then he looked at me. "Do you have the trust document?" I slid the folded copy across the table, the same pages Karen had shoved in my face the night she threw me out. He scanned the clause carefully. "She loved quoting the part about the funds reverting to your father if you failed to claim them," he said quietly. He nodded once. "Sit tight." They kept us at the station for most of the day. First, a technician confirmed the video had not been edited and the metadata was intact. Then they ran Connor's face through the system. His driver license photo appeared instantly. Less than 2 hours later, another detective brought in the friend from the footage. The kid lawyered up immediately but still gave a written statement admitting he had been paid $200 to help teach someone a lesson. By late afternoon, Morales returned. "We have enough for an arrest warrant. Attempted aggravated arson carries serious time in Kansas. We are picking him up tonight." Lauren drove me to her apartment so I would not be alone. At 12:47 in the morning, my phone lit up with Morales' name. "Connor Brooks is in custody," he said, his voice steady. "Uniforms hit the house on North Woodlawn 20 minutes ago. He tried to run out the back, but we had the yard surrounded. He is not talking yet, but the evidence is airtight." I asked about Karen. She arrived about 10 minutes later, screaming that it was all a misunderstanding. She already had a lawyer on speed dial, one of the top criminal firms in the state. The judge granted bail with strict conditions. Ankle monitor, no contact order, surrender passport. She was back home now, but the ankle monitor would light up the moment she came within 500 feet of me. Lauren let me crash on her couch that night. The next morning, a dark sedan was already parked across the street from the convenience store when I left for my shift. The same car followed Lauren's Honda for the next 2 nights. Karen might have been wearing an ankle bracelet, but she still believed the money would end up with my father no matter what she did. And she was not finished trying. On Friday morning, the trust officer from First National Bank on East Douglas called while I was wiping down the lottery counter. "Miss Barnes, your final paperwork is ready. Bring 2 forms of identification and come in anytime today." Once you sign the acceptance documents, the full 1.4 million transfers immediately into the segregated account we created in your name only. No cosigners, no overrides. I told the store manager I had a family emergency and clocked out early. Lauren picked me up in her Honda and we drove downtown in silence. The bank lobby was cool and quiet, marble floors echoing under my sneakers. A private office waited for us, thick carpet, heavy wooden desk. The trust officer walked me through every page: tax forms, beneficiary designations, fraud protections, penalty clauses. Then she slid the final signature sheet across the desk. "This is it. After you sign this line, no one can touch the principal without your written consent. Ever." For the first time in weeks, my hand felt steady as I signed Ensley Drew Barnes in black ink. When the scanner beeped its confirmation, the officer smiled. "Congratulations. You are now a very wealthy young woman." We stepped out into the blinding noon sunlight. The new debit card in my pocket felt strange, almost like it belonged to somebody else. My phone rang before we even reached the car. Unknown Wichita number. Then Karen Brooks flashed across the screen. I let it ring 5 times. Then came a text. "We need to talk as a family. I can explain everything. Meet me, please." I blocked her. About an hour later, Detective Morales called while Lauren and I were driving to get lunch. "Your stepmother just tripped the ankle monitor perimeter 3 separate times. She hired a private investigator out of Topeka. Same guy has been parked at the convenience store and outside Lauren's apartment since yesterday. We have him on traffic cameras swapping vehicles to avoid pattern recognition. Uniforms are bringing him in now." I thanked him and hung up, my fingers cold despite the heat. That night I worked the closing shift alone. At 11:03, the last customer left. I locked the front doors, counted the drawer, and switched off the neon open sign. The back parking lot was nearly empty, except for 2 semi-trucks idling under the floodlights. I had my keys out, heading toward Lauren's car, when a black Chevy Suburban sped in and cut me off. The driver's window slid down. A man in a dark windbreaker leaned out, his face half in shadow, and extended a phone toward me without saying a word. Karen's voice poured through the speaker, low and venomous. "Drop every charge, Emily. Sign the money over to your father like the trust intended, and this all goes away. Keep pushing, and next time there will not be a warning." I backed up until my spine hit the cinder block wall. The man kept holding the phone toward me, waiting. I pulled my own cell from my apron, hit the speed dial button Detective Morales had programmed in, and switched it to speaker so the man could hear every word. "Detective, I am in the east lot of the 24-hour store on Kellogg. Black Suburban Kansas plates, starting with Tango 49er. Your messenger is here delivering a threat from Karen Brooks right now." Morales cut in immediately, his voice calm and sharp. "Stay exactly where you are. Units are on the way. 90 seconds. The Suburban's engine roared. Tires screamed as it shot backward, clipped a dumpster, and tore off toward the interstate on-ramp. I stood under the buzzing floodlight pulse, slamming in my ears, knowing the entire fight had just moved into a new level of dangerous. Sirens split the night before the Suburban even reached the ramp. 3 unmarked sedans and 2 marked patrol units boxed it in at the I-135 interchange. The driver tried to jump the median. An officer tackled him face first onto the asphalt before he made it 10 yards. Inside the vehicle, they found a burner phone, still warm from Karen's call, a printed Google Maps page with the convenience store circled in red, an envelope holding $5,000 in $100 bills wrapped with a rubber percentage band, a handwritten note. Final warning. No mistakes. Lauren and I reached the station a little after 2 in the morning to give our formal statements. By sunrise, the hired driver had already signed a full confession. He admitted Karen contacted him 2 days earlier, instructing him to scare me badly enough to drop every charge. He even handed over the original text thread from Karen, spelling out exactly what he was paid to say. The duty judge revoked her bail at 3:17 in the morning. Patrol cars rolled up to the house on North Woodlawn before the streetlights even flickered off. No high-priced attorney could save her this time. Karen Brooks was booked in an orange jumpsuit and taken straight to the Sedgwick County Jail. The prosecutor added felony witness tampering and criminal threat to her existing charges. By noon, every joint bank account she shared with my father was frozen. A lien hit the house the same afternoon. 36 hours later, Robert Carter showed up at the Starlight Motel. He looked like he had not slept since the arrest, shirt untucked, eyes bloodshot, hands shaking as he stood in the doorway of the lobby. The night clerk buzzed my room. For a second I almost told him to send my father away. Instead I walked downstairs. The moment he saw me, he collapsed to his knees right there on the worn carpet between the ice machine and the vending machines. "Emily, please," he begged, his voice raw. "Drop the charges. Karen and Connor, they got carried away, but they are still your family. I never wanted anyone hurt. I just wanted us to stay together like before." I stared down at him. "You stood silent the night she threw me out with nothing. You read the same trust copy she did. You let them believe that if I disappeared, the money would come to you. I thought we could fix it," he whispered, tears cutting lines down his unshaven cheeks. "I never believed they would actually. You never stopped them either." He reached for my hand. I stepped back. "You all read one paragraph of that trust and built your entire plan around it," I said, my voice flat. "You were wrong from day one. And now it is too late." Security appeared behind him. 2 officers in cheap uniforms took him by the arms and lifted him gently to his feet. He did not fight, he just kept repeating my name as they walked him out. Through the glass doors, I watched him sit in his pickup truck for almost half an hour, forehead pressed to the steering wheel, before he finally drove away. Months later, I stood outside the main courtroom of the Sedgwick County Courthouse, my hands tucked into the pockets of a new coat that actually kept the Kansas wind out. Inside the gallery, the courtroom was nearly empty, just a couple of reporters and Lauren sitting quietly beside me. The judge read the verdicts without ever raising his voice. Karen Brooks was sentenced to 7 years for felony witness, tampering, criminal threat, and conspiracy to commit aggravated arson. Connor Brooks received 5 years in juvenile custody to be automatically transferred to adult prison when he turned 21. The house on North Woodlawn sold at a sheriff's auction within weeks. My father lost everything except the old pickup he still drove to one dead-end job after another, barely earning enough to cover rent on a small 1-bedroom apartment near the river. I used part of the trust to move Mrs. Evelyn Rose Harland into Sunrise Meadows, the best assisted living community outside Wichita. She got a private room with big windows, fresh flowers delivered every week, and 3 restaurant-style meals a day. The first time she walked down the garden path wearing real shoes instead of plastic bags wrapped around her feet, she cried so hard the nurse thought something terrible had happened. Lauren moved into the spare bedroom of the little house I bought on South Hydraulic. She quit the diner and enrolled full-time at Wichita State using the scholarship I set up in her name. We painted the walls, bright colors, shades that didn't remind either of us of motels or jail cells. On the final day of testimony, the trust attorney from First National took the stand to enter the official document into the record. He read aloud the clause. My grandfather quietly added when I was 16, the clause neither Karen nor my father ever knew existed. Should Ensley Drew Barnes die or otherwise fail to accept the trust principal prior to the designated signing date, the entire corpus shall transfer irrevocably to the Harold Barnes Memorial Scholarship Fund for at-risk youth of Sedgwick County. No portion of the trust would ever revert to Robert Carter or any other family member under any circumstance. Karen's face collapsed. She stared at the page like it had reached out and slapped her. The courtroom stayed silent, except for the soft thud of the judge's gavel, confirming the exhibit. After sentencing, deputies escorted her past me in handcuffs and leg irons. She stopped, eyes wild and furious. That money was supposed to be ours, she hissed. I looked her straight in the eye. You tried to kill me for money that was never going to you in the first place. You lost everything because of your own greed. That is the price. I walked out into the bright Kansas sunlight without looking back. Sometimes kindness comes from strangers when family fails you. Sometimes the people who share your blood are the ones who hurt you the most. But real family, the kind that matters, is the family you choose and the family that chooses you back. Mrs. Evelyn taught me that with $5 and a warning. Lauren proved it every single day. And I learned that no amount of money is worth selling your soul for. If you are watching this and someone in your life has shown you what real family looks like, even if they were not the family you were born into, drop your city in the comments and tell me their name. Let us remind each other that kindness always finds its way back, even when everything else falls apart.